Call your sponsor.
Call you sponsor. Call you sponsor.
Call your
sponsor. Call you.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor.
All right, welcome back to Bitch Call Your Sponsor.
Call your sponsor.
I'm Misty.
I'm Sam.
And we are here to party. So let's do our primary purpose and we'll get into it. The primary
purpose is
for Misty and Sam to grow their friendship and maybe help others. Okay. Today, the topic that I've picked for us is people pleasers are people hurters.
Whoa. Tell me more.
Okay. So if someone who's a people pleaser who says yes to everything and that lunch place sounds great and that time sounds great and, yes, I will show up for that and yes, I will do that. And then when the moment comes, they don't show up or they're not there or they, don't like that restaurant really, but they say it 4 days later, that kind of thing. I do not feel safe around someone who is bent on looking good in the moment over promising and under delivering. I don't feel safe with someone who's not in their body and doesn't know where their own boundaries are, because what inevitably happens is they will blame someone else for not respecting boundaries that they've never communicated. And the way it shows up for me is that I have a very, I would say, domineering personality. I will just go like a train through the station and make the plans and do the thing and here we go. And when I do that, it's great if somebody's like, I don't like those plans. I respect that. Great. Okay, but what's your suggestion? Is next, and they're like, I'd rather do this. Great. I love that. What happens to me or has happened over the years is I run like this train through the station and here's what we're doing. Here's doing this. Lots of people don't like the plan, but don't speak up about it. We do the thing. And, a week later, it's like, well, you just made all the decisions and you just da-da-da-da-da. And that I'm responsible for them not having their own voice. Thoughts?
I identify with both sides. I think I tend to lean on the victim and then just to greet it with silent scorn.
So good.
So there's a, God, I guess I could be all parts. I see three different parts. I see the one that's like totally yes, which I think over time I've learned to be non-committal or maybe, what about, then there's the opposite side of total no, and I guess for me, it's the middle way is ultimately to share and to state where I am. I think it's, you always say this, right? To thy own self be true. It's on the coin. It's me actually knowing what I like and what I don't like.
Yes.
Which for me is an adventure unto itself because I've spent a life knowing what you want, what you like, how you like it. Da, da, da. Do you know what I mean? So that I can feel safe, feel loved, feel worthy, all of the above. And not really knowing me. And so what you're sharing is this revolutionary concept of actually knowing what the fuck I like and don't like and would prefer and not prefer, and then to actually share that truth with somebody else.
Yes.
And I think for me right now, I'm at the stage of, really, do I like that? And then
Mm-hmm.
the other piece of that for me is goes even deeper of like, oh, well, maybe today I like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a
Mm-hmm.
forever thing. Or, I didn't like it before, but maybe I'm willing to try it, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
Mm,
The thing that you said there was, what's required in this scenario is that I know myself and know what I like and what I don't like.
mm,
And that is required for someone to advocate for themselves.
mm.
And so if they don't advocate for themselves and then they go through it and on the other side they realize they didn't like the experience, they blame the other person.
Yeah.
And I too have all sides of this. I have all
Mm,
sides of this. I show up as the people pleaser when I'm in a relationship and I'm scared they're going to leave. And
mm.
everything they say, oh, I remember one guy I was seeing. I wish I could say this was like 20 years ago. It was 24 months ago.
Mm,
And he was like, what do you want to eat? And I'm like, what do you want to eat? He's like, that's not what I asked you. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't care. Like, whatever you want to eat. And he's like,
mm,
I want Thai food. And I'm like, I don't like Thai food. He's like, that's
mm.
why I asked, what do you want to eat? Oh, yeah, but I don't care. I don't care what we eat. Whatever. I'm cool with whatever you want to eat. I'm here. And he's like, yeah, I want Thai food. I'm like, yeah, I don't want that. But we would,
Mm.
and if it's like, if we went to Thai food and then I'm like, God, I can't believe we're here,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just, oh. And so another part of this is that I probably told this story before. Who knows what I've told? I'm like Dory and Nemo. I don't remember a thing I said 20 minutes ago, but I got here to LA and one of the women I was sponsoring worked on a very popular TV show. And I said, hey, like my son needs his haircut and you're a hairdresser on this popular TV show. Would you do my son's hair? And she was
Mm,
like, no. I only do my profession at work and I don't do it for people outside of work.
mm,
And I was like, you cunt. Okay.
mm.
So mad. You're a sponsee. I'm your sponsor. How dare you? I've asked you, blah, blah, blah. But after all of that was, I so respect this person for having boundaries, for knowing
Mm.
their limits. Here we are. It's probably been 20 years since that incident happened. I would trust going to that person and talking to her because she knows where she ends and I begin.
Mm.
And I don't have to worry about talking to her and be in my head about, is she going to take care of herself?
Oh my goodness. I'm realizing so many things. So an example and experience of this. I was visiting other campuses, as it were, other
Mm-hmm.
universities in the 12-step worlds. And I found that other than the AA beverage program, the fellowships tend to be smaller. At least that's been my experience.
Mm-hmm.
People, I was looking for sponsorship in other programs, and I got a lot more no's than yeses. And
Mm.
I got upset, and it just like light bulb went off. It's like, oh, they have boundaries.
Right. Right. Something we're
They have
very
boundaries.
unfamiliar with.
Very unfamiliar because I always say yes unless I'm attracted to them because sex and sponsorship don't make a good mix.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always say yes, but under the caveat of like, it's like a pill. Everyone has a different, results as far as, chemistry. There's chemistry and stuff. And for me, it's a conversation and let's try it on for size, Um, so that's just how I deal with that. But the other thing is, I think that this is we're back to the hula hoop
Yes.
in that other, whatever that topic
Mm-hmm.
was, right? Of being, knowing thyself, knowing what is acceptable, what is not, right? I think a lot of the time, I hear like surrender, accept, and it's like, yeah, it's like I don't need to be a doormat. That's not what that means. That means is like
Mm-hmm.
I can surrender and accept all the things that I can't change, and it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean I need to accept the unacceptable at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. Both of those can coexist. My alky brain likes to go to the extremes, all or nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Brene Brown says, people pleasing is a way of giving up our power and letting other people control us.
Mm.
I would say people pleasing is a way of giving up our power and wanting / letting other people control us.
Wanting because I don't want to take responsibility.
Right. I had
Yeah.
someone call me recently and say, hey, I advocated for myself and I asked this person if we could spend Saturday together. And they said, yeah, that sounds great. Why don't you come on by?
Mm.
And they were calling me because that conversation had happened on a Monday. And here it was Friday, and they were upset that this person had not called them to tell them what time they could come by on Saturday. And I was like, that's not their responsibility. Like,
Mm.
just because you advocated for yourself, they're not sitting around going, and I'm not going to tell them what time. They're not
Mm.
withholding it. Advocate for yourself again. It's not just a one time
Mm.
experience, and they
Right.
don't owe you what time. And you might say, how about 1 p.m.? And they might reject you.
Yeah. Well, this goes to a place for me in that isn't necessarily taught in our program in this
Mm-hmm.
sense of I can, it's an expectation is a resentment waiting to happen is what I hear, right?
Yes.
The other side of this is I can make a request.
Mm-hmm.
I can empower myself to make a request, and a request is different than a demand or
Mm-hmm.
manipulation, which is what I know. I
Mm-hmm.
know
Me
to
too.
demand and manipulate,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
A request was pointed out to me by when I actually had coaches in the real world. A request is yes, no, or counter offer. Those are the possible answers to a properly made request.
I like that a lot.
So for me, it's all about one of many conversations. I'm always looking for a result or a party or an end thing, but there is, like you say, no, they're there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another one is this therapist, Susan Forward, to your point, and she says, people pleasers are often afraid of rejection and abandonment. They may feel like they have to be perfect in order to be loved and accepted.
I identify with that.
Sharon Martin, people pleasing is a self-defeating behavior. It leads to burnout, resentment, and loss of self-esteem.
Mm.
And I love the managing expectations part because that's my thing. Help me manage my expectations.
Mm.
Um, just if you're not going to show up, don't tell me at the time that we're supposed to meet when I've already
Yes.
driven over. Help me manage my expectations. And
Yes.
there's only there's only so much you can do with this stuff. You just have to stay in your hula hoop and let it go and let other people behave the way they want to. This is another thing I get from sponsees a lot, which is, but I wouldn't behave that way.
Oh, God, I love that.
And I'm just like, okay, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you grew up in different circumstances from a whole different perspective. Like, this person in their hula hoop gets to behave however they want. It's your job to have the force field with your hula hoop.
That is so so good because I have been guilty of that, the hand on hip. Can you believe what they did? I wouldn't, and that's been a whole conversation. And if I'm not careful with what I'm consuming on the media,
Mhm.
Real Housewives, whatever those things are that are great guilty pleasures. And it's literally this whole thing of victimise and self
Mhm.
righteousness. That's not how I would have done it. And that way of thinking is perpetuated everywhere I look, Um, but what I realized just literally just now, like light bulb going off, is
Mm. Mm.
it's the difference of finding connection, conversation, communication versus staying in my head
Oh, preach,
and
preach,
separate
preach.
and
Preach.
separate, right? Because it's like, can you believe what they did? That is me not having a direct conversation. It's me self-righteous in my head thinking what through the lens of me what I would have done and then
Mm.
gossiping or getting everyone else on, to think or justify my thinking versus having a direct conversation with you and saying, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm making up, I don't
Mhm.
have that language, in order to communicate that, appropriately, where I'm not pointing the finger of you made me feel this and you did that. And, all of that, throw the drink in the face and the drama,
Yeah.
that
I
has never been modeled or shared with me before.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. One, love me some Real Housewives. And the victimese is so good because that's actually where I watched that and saw my personality type and saw them do it and was like, oh, that looks horrible. Like it was such a
Mm.
blessing to watch them and watch how it plays out. And I've gained so much self-knowledge from watching this
Mm.
stuff and realizing like, oh, when try and throw everyone under the bus, people realize it and you look like the asshole. I'm like,
Wow.
oh, okay. And then, there was something else you said and I don't remember, but okay, keep going.
Well, I almost wonder if I'm like, I don't know if other people are identifying and uh with like the housewives in the way that you are leading a self-examined life.
Yeah, and I don't care. It doesn't
Yes.
matter.
And I don't
They,
need to police
yeah,
everybody.
right.
Yes.
They might not be, and they might exhibit more drama in their lives, but I do think it has served a purpose, getting this window into. Oh, that does remind me. Okay, we got there. This is so perfect. Reality TV
Yes.
versus a script. So what you were
Mm.
just saying was, and I need to be like in the moment and love myself so that I can show up however I show up. And I think that applies to future conversations too, because one of the things that somebody called me about when they didn't want to show up mad or upset somewhere, they were trying to let's go over the conversation and how I would say it.
Oh God, the
And I
script.
was
I
like,
love it.
right. And I'm like, well, that's not a thing. Like, being
Mm.
in your body and being connected to your higher power and your higher self and feeling self-love means that it's reality TV and they get to
Mm.
show up however they want. And I don't have a script because guess what? I never know what they're going to say. I
Yeah.
never know how it's going to go. So if I can just be in my body and be connected, they get to say whatever they want. And I don't have
Mm.
to worry about how I'm going to say it because that is a manipulation.
So, are you saying that you're present?
No, I'm not saying I am. No. I'm saying that is goals. Oh, no. I'm saying that if I can just love myself no matter how I'm going to show up, I
Hmm.
don't have to worry about it. And that's the true freedom.
Call
Bitch, call
your
your
sponsor.
sponsor.
Call you
your
sponsor.
sponsor.
Call you
Call
sponsor.
your
Call you
sponsor.
sponsor.
Bitch.
Call you.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor.
Part 2 on Monday. Send us an email with comments, questions, or concerns bcysponsor@gmail.com.